A new book is sharing previously undisclosed details about the Georgia investigation into former President Donald Trump's 2020 election interference case there. It's called Find Me the Votes. It's a hard-charging Georgia prosecutor, a rogue president, and the plot to steal an American election. It's written by investigative journalists Michael Isikoff and Daniel Klaidman. It reveals documents, texts, and recordings to provide an inside look at Fulton County DA Fani Willis's investigation into how President Trump and his associates allegedly plotted to keep the president in office. In one recording, the president and his associates discuss reaching out to then Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to help challenge the results in Michigan.
Yeah, go call him.
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
You know, Mitch is a quiet guy, but he wields a pretty good stick. He just wants to win this thing. And don't be deceived that he's weak. He's a pretty strong guy.
We're going to get you more Senate seats and more congressional seats.
Michael Isikoff and Daniel Klaidman, who is now a CBS News investigative reporter, join us first on CBS Mornings. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. Just when you think you've heard all the recordings, there's another recording.
Yes, so true.
Lots more, yes. Look, Georgia was ground zero for what was arguably the greatest anti-democratic plot in American history. It's the state where Trump's was most relentless, was most furious. His pressure campaign, he was calling the governor, the Secretary of State, obviously, Brad Raffensperger, calling an online investigator at the Secretary of State's office, state legislators. But he was also talking to people in that recording that you just played, like Lynn Wood, a certified QAnon adherent, believer in that there's a cabal of...
Who used to be a very prominent attorney in this country.
Yes, and Lynn Wood, and Sidney Powell, who's pushing these fantastic theories about Venezuelan socialists planting secret algorithms. And this nonsense that these, like, way out folks are telling Trump is what he's using to put pressure on people all across the state government in Georgia to get...
It definitely jumps off the page. It falls to me, Daniel, before I go to you, to read statements here from Sidney Powell, the attorney for Sidney Powell, saying Sidney Powell pled guilty to 6 misdemeanors, accusing her of conspiring to intentionally interfere with the performance of election duties and also to apologize to Georgia and its voters. As for Lynn Wood, in a statement to CBS News, Lynn Wood refuted the allegations and said, among other things, that he has, quote, never made any post that could remotely be described as leading to threats or violence and does not spread lies.
One little detail in our book, he was investigated by the Secret Service for possibly threatening the vice president of the United States.
Anyway, that's the fair airing of,
it's in our book.
From a lot in the book. Something of significance in the book is really a profile of Fani Willis here, who is a force of nature, widely respected, but at this particular moment is also under a cloud of doubt because of an apparently improper relationship. Part of the reason this cloud is so big and so dark at the moment is she has not said anything since the allegations have come forward. Why?
She hasn't, you're right. And in that void, you know, you're getting this feeding frenzy, all of these questions, and the cloud that you talk about. I think this is a kind of a classic tension between the PR-minded people in her office and the lawyers who are reluctant to get a lot of facts out there. They don't want anything to be contradicted, and they want to stick with the law. It will come out this week.
But what I'll say... But the cloud is that she was involved with one of the prosecutors, neither one of them, Nathan Wade, that she hired, who's also featured in the book.
That's right.
Neither one of them have said anything about it. But should that matter, whether it's true or not true?
Will it have an impact?
Yeah, should that matter?
Let's start by stipulating that this was a serious lapse of judgment if it happened on her part. And I'm sure she is saying, what in the world was I thinking?
But that said, about this case.
But that said, it has no bearing on the underlying case itself. These 19 people were indicted for conspiracy crimes to overturn the election. And the fact that she was maybe having an affair with someone or an improper relationship with someone in her office has no bearing on the case, and nor should it, I think, in the end, disqualify her because there isn't really a conflict.
But I'm fascinated by Fani Willis. Number one, she's described as a badass who really knows her stuff. She has vowed to enforce the law without fear or favor. And Nathan Wade was a well-respected judge. When she was getting prosecutors, nobody wanted to take this case. True?
Exactly. In fact, she had reached out to some pretty high-profile figures. The former governor of Georgia, Roy Barnes, who turned her down, saying, I don't want to be followed by a bodyguard for the rest of my life. Another former federal prosecutor had turned her down. His wife had concerns about safety. So it's not as though she, steered something to Nathan Wade.
But my point is, though, Michael,
by the way,
she knows her stuff. True.
Oh, she is the prime expert in Fulton County for prosecuting RICO cases. She's done it before. She was the star litigator in the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. We'll see how this plays out, but so far there's nothing that suggests.
Let me just say one more thing about Fani Willis.
Yeah.
We interviewed her a half a dozen times over many hours over the 2 years of reporting this book. She is, exactly as Tony said, a force of nature. She is also complex, and she is very human. One thing I will say about her is do not count her out. She is tough and resilient, and she has been through a lot even before this happened. And one of the most dramatic stories in our book, which has not come out until now, I'll let Isikoff tell it, illustrates this.
Yeah, it was the night of the indictment.
Yeah.
And she does this midnight press conference. Entire press is there. Then she goes back. Right before the indictment, they had picked up a threat, a possible assassination threat on a MAGA website. The best time to shoot her is when she's leaving the building. Fani Willis goes back to her office, takes off her business suit and pearls, and puts on T-shirts, sweatpants, a baseball cap,
yes.
a body double.
Yeah.
Then, with a Kevlar bulletproof vest, puts on the Fani Willis suit, goes out. Fani Willis is smuggled out the back door of the office.
That's how
She's safe.
For her safety.
She's safe. We're happy about that. A lot of scoops in this book. We thank you very much, Michael Isikoff, Daniel Klaidman. My former bosses at the old Newsweek.
The book is so good.
The book, Find Me the Votes, goes on sale tomorrow. We'll be right back.